Why do people make their beds in the morning? More importantly, why should you? Why don't you? Taking the time to think about these questions and then finding the answers to them may turn your head. I've got 4 experts and 2 surveys that should interest you and give you those answers. If nothing less, maybe convince you to start making your bed every morning. To start off, let's hit it with the experts. Navy SEAL of 36 years, author, and public speaker Admiral William H. McRaven. He said, if you can't do the little things right, there's no way that you'll ever do the big things right. His theory is that making your bed is the first task completed in your day, which ultimately leads to more tasks completed. He gave this speech at the University of Texas graduation in 2014. He went on about making your bed and why it's important, but he really got down to the nitty-gritty about, in his first 6 months of becoming a Navy SEAL, he said it was the hardest 6 months of his life was that training. And he said every morning the first thing officers would inspect is a crisp and neatly made bed. So if the same guys are jumping out of helicopters and jets into freezing water and serving our country care about a bed being made in the morning, I feel like that's got to be saying something. Second expert and psychologist Judy Dunton, she gave her 2 cents on this topic. She found that bed makers are more likely to like their jobs, exercise, own a home, and of course, feel well rested. While this provides and shows correlation but not causation, this doesn't mean non-bed makers cannot be happy and successful. However, the odds are stacked against them. Third expert down the line, Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit and many other motivational books. He said that making your bed every morning is correlated with better productivity, a greater sense of well-being, and stronger skills at sticking to a budget. Charles refers to it as a keystone habit, which ultimately means that it's something that kickstarts a pattern of other good behaviors. Since it's the very start of your day, it triggers better decisions the rest of the day, better budget, and if nothing less, if you have a miserable day, you can come back to a neatly made bed and remind yourself that you got one task completed. So our 4th and final expert, left to swing you with their words of wisdom, is Gretchen Rubin. She's a researcher and the author of The Happiness Project. She's conducted many surveys and many experiments through her research, and in almost 60% of her questionnaires asking people what boosts happiness, they answered making their bed in the mornings. It's funny that they say this because it's something that most people don't even think about. Her saying is that outer order contributes to inner calm, and that if you love a calm environment, making the bed is one of the quickest and easiest steps to achieve that. And you also cultivate a sense of order. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or dealing with a lot, picking one small task can give a person a sense of pride and control over a situation. And like our other expert said, it's funny that she mentioned the environment, because if you have a better environment for making your bed, you're likely to be more productive and get better things done. The first survey I'd like to talk about was done by Hunch.com. In this survey of 68,000 people, 59% of people don't make their beds, 27% do, and the last 12% pay a housekeeper to do it for them. In the latter part of the survey questions, 71% of the bed makers consider themselves happy, while 62% of the non-bed makers admitted to being unhappy. It's interesting what people admit to anonymously, but how much proof you can get that something really matters. The second survey was done by the actual National Sleep Foundation, which came to the conclusion that those who make their beds are 20% more likely to say they're happy and sleep better every night. So, all of these facts and odds and patterns may sound like hearsay and they may not be very convincing. However, I can guarantee you, if you were to ask some of the most successful people you look up to and know if they make their beds, they would probably say yes. And for the younger generation, it's kind of just assumed that it's because they're older or it's how they grew up. But personally, I can tell you experience from this that at one of my previous jobs, I met a man of many successes and we got to talking. He said in the interviews that he gives for his giant company, he He gives this exact question, and that determines the rest of their time, if they make their bed or if they don't. People often use common excuses like, I don't have time, or I always forget. However, if someone shows enough self-discipline and responsibility to care about making their bed, it reflects a number of great qualities about them. Even something as simple as being neat and a tidy individual can give you so much good backup in an interview like that. So, if out of this one simple task you can have a better night's rest, happiness, more success in different aspects of your life, and overall just a better life, why not do it? Well, these things aren't guaranteed and they're not certain, but I make my bed every morning, and I have since I was little, and I've got a pretty good resume. I've been working since I was 14. I have my pilot's license, and I watched my grandfather do the same thing. He owns his own company, and he's the one that actually got me to start making my bed whenever I was younger. So I recommend giving it a shot.